is rather like many of the things which we use as the basic necessities in our lives.
Only Lord Buddha, or the one on his behalf.
That we listen to a soft instrumental music for a while.
It's so an efficient effect that my work got better.
Lift your arms up and backward, downward.
Sawadee-ka. Welcome back to our mini-series on meditation and self-development. Last week we had looked at 5 sorts of what we call mini-demons which always get into the way of our good intentions. This week we'll be looking at moderation. Is moderation a good thing or not? What is it good for and what things is it not suitable for? Let us find out from Reverend Nicholas Thanisaro.
Welcome back to our mini-series on meditation and self-development. Last week we've already taken a look at 5 sorts of what we call little demons, which sometimes get in the way of our good intentions in self-development. This week we're going to be looking a little bit more at whether what we call moderation is really a good thing or not when it comes to our self-development. Because often we hear the words, moderation is good in all things. But what we find from our experience in self-development is that this is not always the case. So today we're going to be taking a look at exactly what is good in moderation and what things for which moderation may not be quite so applicable. Once we are endowed with our vision of self-development, what we find is that the sort of things which we are really needing for our self-development are the things which are going to improve the degree of virtue in our own lives. But in fact, moderation can be implied in many different things. Even for meditation, if for example you drink too much water, then you may find that you're not able to sit for meditation for too long before you have to take a visit to the washroom. If you drink too little water, then you're not having enough refreshingness when you're meditating to be able to meditate well. So there's always a balance in everything. But exactly where the balance lies, well, this is the question of the art of meditation which we're trying to discover as a result of this part of the series. The problem with the sort of things we're talking about which concern moderation is not whether something is good or bad, but the extent of how much is appropriate for our meditation or for our self-development. The first group of things which I'd like to talk about are the things which you could say the more the merrier, which means that the more you do of them, the more beneficial it is for your practice. The first of these is the factor of compassion. This means that we have to control all the possibly unpleasant things which may come out of our body or out of our intentions, which may be the things which we say, the things that we appear to be to other people, the manners which we have, and not doing things to create the suspicion of others. If we are considerate of people in these ways, then what we find is that the more compassionate we are, the better it is for ourselves and the better it is for the world around us. The second thing, for which the more the merrier, is generosity. This may mean giving things to other people, but it may also mean giving things like our time, our forgiveness, our attention, teaching, advice. As long as it's out of compassion, then giving to other people is always something which is going to be more positive. The more generous you can afford to be, the better it is. The third thing which we should try to develop more and more is contentment with one's own spouse. Supposing we marry, that is, then we shouldn't have eyes for anyone else's spouse anymore. We shouldn't have eyes for anyone else, in fact. It's something which sounds easy, but in our modern world it seems to be becoming rarer and rarer. Often we say that we live in a throwaway society. In the olden days, if even a chair or a table was broken, people would go to the great efforts to mend that thing. But in the present day, we find that even with our families, instead of making the effort to repair the broken relationships in our families, we tend to start afresh, which is rather wasteful in terms of human resources, and it's also bad news for our own family stability as well. So this small factor of being content with one's own spouse is in fact very important. Again, the more the merrier. The fourth thing which we should try to develop more and more is also the quality of truthfulness or sincerity. It doesn't mean that you must tell other people everything you're thinking, but it means that the things that we do and the things that we do say, we ought to be doing to the fullest of our ability. They ought to be aligned with the things that we really believe in our lives. So if we can be sincere and true in everything which we do, then this is something for which the more the merrier. Last but not least is that we should be mindful. Anything which undermines our ability to be mindful or to have a good conscience about the things we're doing is something which we ought to avoid completely. We need to be more mindful if we are going to be a good meditator. And this is something which is not, again, a question of moderation. It's something which we should be trying to develop to the full. So for these 5 forms of behavior, it's not a question of moderation, but it's something which we ought to be cultivating to the greatest of our ability. It's said that there are 3 sorts of approaches to doing such good deeds like this. The sort of difficulties which we tend to come across when we try to do these sort of good deeds to the full. Some people, they know what is good to do in their lives, but they lack the morale to do it. And if this is the case, then sometimes we need to associate more with the sort of people who can give us the encouragement to fulfill all the good deeds which we would like to do in our lives. There are some people who do have the morale to do the good deeds, but they don't have the opportunity to do them. Perhaps they have to work too hard, or they're not in an environment which allows them to do as many good deeds as they would like. In such a case, then you do need to divide up your time more strictly in order to give yourself the chance to pursue your good deeds, at least in an uncompromised way, more often than before. And if you have no other obstacles, like you have the encouragement and you have also the opportunity, the surroundings which allow you to do the good deeds, then you really should take that opportunity to do the good deeds to the full. So these are all examples of things which it's not a question of moderation for, but things which you should do to the full. So when we're talking about moderation, what are we really talking about? Well, this is rather like many of the things which we use as the basic necessities in our lives. For our own survival, we depend on as many as 4 different things. We depend upon our food, clothing, shelter, and also medicine in times of illness. These are things which, when we're talking about moderation, is very important to consider. For example, the small factor of food is something which we tend to underestimate, especially in the Western world, where obesity is a disease which is becoming rife in every country. Just being able to know the right amount of food to eat is often a big challenge for many people. According to our Buddhist technology, we say that to know exactly the right amount of food to eat, you should stop eating exactly 4 mouthfuls before you know you're going to get full of food. Why should that be? Because when you're eating, what you find is that there are another 4 mouthfuls of food which are already on their way down your throat as you are eating. So if you stop eating 4 mouthfuls before you're completely full, then that will be just the right amount of food to eat. But if you stop eating when you are already feeling full, then that extra 4 mouthfuls is already going to overfill you. So knowing moderation from the point of view of food will help you to know moderation in many other aspects of your life as well. What about moderation in terms of clothing? Some people have a different set of clothes for every day of the week. Some people never wear the same set of clothes twice. Well, it's said that if you want to know moderation in the clothes which you wear, then you should try to have sets of clothes which you can use on many different occasions. For example, a set of clothes which you can wear to a wedding and a funeral and to go to work in is better than having a separate set of clothes for each one of these at different occasions. What do we mean by moderation when it comes to shelter? Some people like to have an extravagant house with many rooms, but if you ask if you enjoy doing the cleaning for the whole of the house, then you probably get the right answer for yourself, that knowing moderation in the amount of space which you really need is something which is going to help to free up your time to do more good deeds in your life. If you have a huge house, then the size of your mortgage will also be huge. You may find that you die before you've paid off all of your mortgage this lifetime round and leave the debts for your children or your grandchildren to pay off for you. And how about moderation in terms of medicine? There are some people, of course, who will not see a doctor in their own country. They have to go to Switzerland to see a doctor. On the other hand, there are those who never admit that they're ill until they get so ill that they are too serious to be cured anymore. So somewhere in between is the question of moderation in terms of the medicine which we use. These four requisites, food, clothing, shelter and medicine, are things for which the word moderation are very important. And if we can apply them properly in these four simple things, then it's going to be much easier for us to know moderation when it comes to more complex things. But there are things for which the principle of moderation really does not apply. And this can sometimes depend on our own personal weaknesses at any particular time. In Thailand, we have the expression that if you have a cut in your hand, then you cannot afford to handle poisons. Normally, if you pick up something like bleach in your hand, then it's not a particularly harmful substance because it cannot be absorbed into your own body. But at any time where you have a cut in your hand, then it may be something very dangerous for you to pick up in your hand because it will be absorbed directly into your body. In the same way, sometimes if we have particular weaknesses, then it may be advisable to avoid things which normally are no trouble for us. For example, normally you may be a very good-natured person. You'll be able to put up with annoying circumstances, but supposing one day you feel ill, you feel irritable because of that, if you meet up with the same circumstances, often you may find that it will upset you because you are caught off your guard by your sickness. So if you know that you are suffering from a particular weakness, then sometimes it's better to withdraw from the things which you may otherwise cause you to be upset or to lose your vision which you need for your self-development. These are known as the things which are only good up to the point of your own limit. Another scenario where moderation doesn't apply are for things which are particularly dangerous, things which are often addictive, and for which even a small amount of such substances or behaviors can make a big harmful difference to your life. Often we tend to overlook small things, but in some cases small things can be very important. You can try to understand this better if you look at the work of psychologists or historians or even detectives. Sometimes even small things can be telltale things which can make a big difference to the interpretation of a situation. Also for us, in certain cases, the things that we consume or the things which we do can be things which are very dangerous if they are in certain categories. These are applying for things like, for example, alcohol, where it's a common preconception that if you're not drunk, then it's okay to drink a little alcohol. I've even heard it said that it's okay to drink alcohol as long as you don't get violent. But in fact, that's not entirely the case. It's an oversimplification to think that there's no damage coming from alcohol until you start to become aggressive about it. In fact, the damage is already done to what we mentioned earlier, and that is our mindfulness, even from the time we start to think of drinking the alcohol in the first place. So some categories of things, especially if they are addictive, things like drink, drugs, even laziness, or getting so preoccupied with things like entertainment or gambling that we forget to do our work anymore, these are things which we cannot afford to overlook. And they are things which are not good in moderation. They are not good at all, in fact. And they are things which we shouldn't touch with a barge pole. They're things which we ought to distance ourselves from as much as possible, and distance ourselves even from the people who are involved with them. There are some things which really they are not, on the face of it, common sense, but which are sometimes so dangerous that we cannot afford to be mixed up with them at all. Think, for example, of the example of a child which is playing around with an electricity socket. Sometimes we might think that it's good for the child to learn from its own experiences. Maybe they will get a new bit of knowledge if they are electrocuted. But in fact, this doesn't add up, because if the child is harmed by electrocution, then they're not going to have any chance to learn anything anymore. So sometimes we need to be cruel in order to be kind. We need to tell off the child or even punish them in a way they're going to remember before they're going to be able to learn about the real nature of the danger of an electricity socket. So some things with the roads of ruin, as I just mentioned, are rather like electrocution from electricity socket. We cannot afford to try it and decide for ourselves later, because they undermine our whole ability to make the decision in the first place. So when we come to self-development, yes, moderation is an interesting principle. It's a principle which can be applied to many things which are neither good nor bad, which we have in our lives. But as self-developers, we need to have the awareness there are some things which are much better than we can afford just to do in moderation. Also things which are so dangerous that we cannot afford to do them at all. They're not good in moderation, but in fact they are very dangerous even in moderation. So today, very briefly, we have taken a look at what we actually mean by moderation in the context of self-development. Next time, we're going to be looking a little bit more at the strategies for decision-making which we need to use so that we don't succumb to the action of the defilements in our minds when we come to trying to make fair decisions. So in the meantime, I'd like to encourage you, as usual, to keep up with your daily meditation and try to apply some of this knowledge about moderation in your everyday life as well. So all things being equal, I'll see you again next week.
So now that our questions about meditation and self-development are answered, next on Buddhist Culture, we shall learn how Thais cultivate their respect and generosity from the morning rise.
Only Lord Buddha, or the one on his behalf, deserves the very first spoon of the morning rice. It is when he can see the lines on his palm with the first daylight that a Buddhist monk who gets up earlier before the sun rises will begin his alms round. Preparation of alms food is also usually done before the sun rises, but some of these dishes and desserts can be prepared the evening before. firstly and most importantly, all dishes must be fresh and allocated in a special container set aside for alms. Early that morning, foods that were cooked in the evening will be brought out to be warmed in the old Asian fashion. Going on the alms round. Sometimes a monk goes on his alms round alone, sometimes with company. Elderly monks need the company of a young man, one who is stronger and is able to help the monks on their rounds. Sometimes this is a young, clever boy who enjoys inquiry and never lets anything escape his sight.
It is now time for us to meditate in a meditation session with Reverend Somsak Piyasiro.
สวัสดี Hello everyone. It is very nice to meet again. This is session 4 of part 2. I believe everyone will enjoy the fruits of meditation because we make it by ourselves, and if you practice it often, regularly, you will enjoy inner peace somehow. Last time, again, just to make a brief review, we talked about before and after meditation. Before, we should instill the mind, calm down the mind. And after, we should not move our body and mind too abruptly right away from the end of meditation. In today's society, we have stress somehow. But before meditation, it is very hard to switch from the busy world. The mind is always busy. Right away to the stillness of the mind. So we need a little bridge to bridge the two worlds together. A simple technique which is available to all. Everyone will have soft music or instrumental one actually. Instrumental music is very nice because it contains no wordings. It is really soft and can soften your stress. So we prepare just before meditation. I would recommend again, this is another technique, that we listen to a soft instrumental music for a while and relax together with a kind of soft drink or just plain lukewarm glass of water. This is good enough. Let's try. Turn on soft music and then we let the mind flow with it. And if the mind is softened and gentle enough, we can become a good meditation right now. So if you are ready, ladies and gentlemen, we just simply close the eyes. Let the beauty of clean music clean the whole you. Relax the whole body as before. Let the beauty of the music enter your mind. Allow the mind to be flowing, to be soft, and always gentle when we touch it. We can imagine we are in the middle of the forest, surrounded by all greens, small plants and big trees. Every breath that we take is made of fresh air, pollution-free. Every breath that we take goes really deep inside the body until we reach our familiar point. Remember, our favorite turning point. The turning point just for beginners. The turning point is the point where the in-breath has turned the out-breath. It is the far end of our deep breath. This is the station of peace, because every time the mind rests here, we gain inner peace. Peace could be collected over the station of peace. Let the beauty of the nature, let the embrace of the Mother Nature soothe the whole body and mind, the whole you. Stay peacefully, joyously within the embrace of the Mother Nature. Get soaked up, get wrapped up by the serenity of the nature. Until every single molecule of life is so fresh, so soft, so peaceful to focus at the center point, in the middle of the stomach. The mind stays so still, right there. The mind stays so still over there. Enjoy a bright sphere form of the crystal ball that emerges at the center of the body. This is the original form, the formation of the mind. The mind has the form of a sphere. Therefore, a crystal ball appears at the center point. we recall the original form, sphere form of the mind. Always we shall not apply any force. Sometimes we try to make the shape so sharp. It is not necessary at all. As long as the mind rests peacefully, we may experience the crystal ball. Sometimes it keeps going, as well as keeps coming. Enjoy the appearance of the crystal ball. And sometimes when it is gone, enjoy the peacefulness when the mind dwells in the center. We always enjoy peace, inner peace, at the station of peace. Always relax, relax all the time. As every second, every minute passes by, we always relax. Enjoy the existence of the crystal ball at the center point. Enjoy being in the embrace of the nature. Enjoy your still mind that creates inner peace. It has become so certain, ladies and gentlemen, that peace could be created only from inside. That is why we'll call this inner peace. We can use our inner peace to create world peace by means of sharing. Peace can be shared very easily, starting from our station of peace. We just let the sphere form of the crystal ball grow bigger. Let the crystal ball grow bigger until it could cover our entire body. It will become even easier if we let the sphere expand limitlessly. So now we focus at the center, but the boundary of the sphere is limitless. It is beyond our vision to see the boundary of peace that we expand to share to the world. Let peace prevail inside our mind for a while before we finish this meditation session. And when the time is up, we slowly, delicately open up the eyes. Hope you enjoy your inner peace together with us. Practice often. You go to the station of peace often. It will be easier each time you go there. And once you get inner peace to yourself, don't forget to share inner peace to everyone around you. Until we meet next time, and hope you enjoy meditation even more and more when we meet next time. Have a good time. See you later.
Peace on earth, it's a dream we've shared. Only now it's close to reality. Would you listen carefully and spare me a little of your time? Meditation, haven't you heard? It's the key word for everyone. It's the next human evolution, and you would be the one to share it with the world. Now we join together and make it happen. Let's make the world at peace through meditation. Peace comes from within. At the center of all things is you. Peace and joy with love and your happiness. Light a candle bright inside of you, and it too will light the next one, and the next one, and the next millions of candles will brighten up the whole world. In this world, we know there is hatred, greed and hunger, and suffering. To be free, free from all of these things, remember that the one place peace can be found is within. Now we join together and make it happen. Let's make the world at peace through meditation. Now we'll join together and make it happen. Let's make the world at peace through meditation. Now we'll join together and make it happen. Let's make the world at peace through meditation. From now on, may the bright light of peace at the center of each of you be a beacon for the true and everlasting peace. Let's make the world at peace through meditation. Now we join together and make it happen. Let's make the world at peace through meditation.
Next in our program, we will once again meet with Elsbeth Maurer, who will share with us her tips on meditation, how it helped her in business and family matters.
I love meditation. In the beginning, it was not so easy. I call myself that I'm more like a hyper person. Every time when I got my report from school, they would write into the report card that I cannot sit still, that I was talkative, and I would disturb the class by my active behaving. So when I started to meditate, I was 30 years old, and at that time I still was very busy, having most of the time 3 jobs. And when the meditation teacher told me that I need to sit down and slow down, this was for me the most challenging point. And still, I have seen or read also in books that meditation is maybe the only solution of slow down and release stress and prevent us from a total burnout syndrome by 40. So I had about 10 years to learn to slow down, or I would get sick by the time probably when I was 40. So I listened to my environment at that time. I came with my husband in a new environment that many people meditate, and so I wanted to try it out. And very soon I could feel that it gives a benefit to me, but only slowly, but at least it gave me that much that I could see the benefit to really do it. And in the beginning, maybe in the first couple of years, I would not do it every day. But now, after so many years, there would be not a day that I not sit down and meditate. And what the effect is that it attracts a complete different environment, business and also private. I can be calm, and instead of working like a bee and buzzing around, it is so easy. I can also sit down in the business. I can think a thought, and usually the person calls me. So I can save telephone bills, I can save places to go. People would come to me. So the mind becomes so strong that I can attract what I need for my first step in the business. So the efficiency is such an amazing thing that I can observe. The other thing is also, I know when the project is ripe. Instead of working and working and working and making it happen, I can sit down and relax and observe what is the next step into a certain project to take, and at the right time to be at the right place to do the right action. Is so an efficient effect that my work got better and the result is more successful, and I have more time. Sometimes when this happened in my life about 2 years ago, I was still puzzled. Do I work less, or is just my benefit bigger? But now I know exactly how it works. It is the efficiency that came into my life, and by that I have more time to meditate. So I study and come here to the temple quite often, as I have my own business, and I can manage my time myself, and I have also time to give to the project to rape themselves. So I seed the plan, and we know when in springtime the fruits are not ripe, and if we try to get the blossom from the trees, we could never harvest the fruits in autumn. So it's all about timing, in the right moment, be at the right place. And I feel that this is the most amazing thing that is coming out from my meditation experience. For meditation, you don't need a miracle. Meditation is something very easy. It is like eating or going to sleep. What you need is a place where you can sit. And when you sit down, what you need to do is just breathe in and breathe out. By that you can control very easily and slow down. So this is the first two things. Just sit down and slow down. And then when you have the peace in yourself, you will know that this has an effect on you. When you slow down and you go to yourself, within you, you will find yourself. And when you find yourself, you are very happy, as there is the focus within you that gives you the strength to do everything that you need. So what you only need is give yourself time. And I think these few minutes that you give yourself, this is the most precious gift to yourself. This is maybe why you are born, why you are come here. And the rest of the day you can work and you can take care of your family, you can do your duties, and in the same time you can deeply be connected to yourself. And when you practice this, you will notice how your life gets more easy. And I created a slogan for my team in Switzerland, and this means once a day, meditate. Once a week, go and find the group to meditate together. Once a month, go to some place where there is a master that can guide you and see that you can stay overnight to give you a deeper experience. And then finally, once a year, for sure, go and meditate for 1 week to have even a deeper meditation experience. And when you are arriving to celebrate your 5th year of meditation, give yourself a month to go in a retreat. All this may bring you the deepest happiness ever in life, and you will be so brilliant, and from outside people will come and ask, what do you do that you have always a smile, or that you are so bright, or your charisma is attracting such a good business, so amazing friends, and then you can share the same. Actually, it's very simple. Just sit down, slow down, and expand your light. That's all. Swadika. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Maurer. Next, we will have the Body and Mind Solution exercise with Ms. Vishuddha Sathalanan and Dr. Vishit Kitipongkoson. Have fun.
สวัสดีค่ะ dear audience. Dr. Vishit and I still staying with you with an exercise that aiming for stress relief for both body and mind. And the name of the program is called Body and Mind Solution. And this is the 4th posture. สวัสดีค่ะหมอวิชิต
สวัสดีครับวิชุดาครับ
ค่ะ
So this posture is called the side circle,
I see.
or to draw the circle at the side, which is to exercise the muscle of arm for releasing the stress along the muscle of arm and shoulder. Let's start together.
Okay.
Start with breathing exercise. Put your hand on your body. Take deep breath in and slowly out. When you take a deep breath in, follow your breath to touch the turning point of your breath. That is the center of your body. So when you breathe in, touch the center of your body, breathe out. Your mind still at the center of the body, and continue to do the posture. Lift both arms up. Lift your arms up all the way up. You feel stretching on the side of your body, on the shoulder, and then stretch your arm backward, okay, and downward and up. just like you draw a circle, like this. Along with your mind, still at the center of the body. Again, lift your arms up and backward, downward, up, backward, downward, up. One more time. Backward, downward, and up, and lower your arms. Put your hands on your body and take a deep breath in and out. Your mind still at the center of the body, at the turning point of the breath. One more time. And if you are in a place that allows you to sit and meditate, then you change your position into the sitting posture. Your mind still at the center of the body. With your body relaxed and with your mind at the center, then slowly close your eyes and continue to practice meditation. By focusing your mind at the center of the body, you will gain the best benefit of your body and your mind.
Oh, Dr. Rishit, it's weird. It seems to be easy, but there is technique that the arm should be turned backward a little bit, isn't it?
Yes, and this posture is good to release the stress from the muscle of the scapular area. That means the upper back. And also, it's benefit to the muscle of the neck and arm also.
Oh, that should be good for the persons who work with lots of numbers, like accounting, or persons that work in front of the computer screen.
Yeah,
right?
I think definitely. And for all professions who have to use hands and arms during the day, such as housewife, gardener,
Yes.
or for all the teachers, and even the students who have to write a lot
Oh,
during the day.
so it must be appropriate for all.
Yes, but the important is slow movement and without overstretch.
I see.
This is very important because to do it slow, it prevents the muscle damage.
I see.
And also, please do not force your body. Your body will be improved gradually by doing along with the feeling that the body allowed to do.
I see. So, but the most important thing is that put your mind at the turning point at the center, because the turning point is the starting point to doing meditation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we would like to say goodbye for today. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
It is now time for us to say goodbye. I hope to see you next week on Meditation for All. And remember that we love to hear your comments and suggestions. So please write to us at meditationforall@hotmail.com. Goodbye for today. สวัสดีค่ะ